life is indeed a mystical journey, and if I could, in the topic of this discussion, talk about life briefly from a scientific perspective. So, life is arguably one of the least understood phenomena in the universe. Even in terms of the origin of the universe, we have a single scientific theory, the Big Bang, which is currently understood to potentially have been the way that the universe began. When it comes to how life began, we are limited to studying life currently on a single planet. That's planet Earth. And way back in the early 1900s, when quantum physicists, and I am a quantum physicist by training, so I was very excited to see quantum physics mentioned in the opening words of this gathering. The quantum physicists proposed that there would be some information carrier, perhaps a molecular carrier of information from one generation to another in order for the offspring to resemble the parents. And indeed, many decades later, we discovered the DNA molecule as this carrier of information. So what we have found about life on our planet so far, the most important discovery, let's say, is that all life has this molecule in common. That's fantastic from a unity point of view, a celebration of the fact that we are all one system, one living system. However, from a scientific perspective, this means that we have a single data point in terms of trying to understand life. So in terms of trying to understand those very old questions, where do we come from? Where are we going? Are we alone in the universe? This is really as far as we've got, because as we know, we have not yet discovered evidence of life anywhere else. Our attempts to understand ourselves naturally lead us to investigate the space around us, whether it's in the laboratory discovering DNA, or whether it's identifying different species that are on our planet. But once we realize that all life on Earth is a single system, we start to look further. And perhaps our earliest investigations of space have started with studying rocks that have fallen from space to the surface of our planet. And I have with me here today my most special and prized and unusual possession on Earth. Perhaps when I'm living on Mars, this will not be such an unusual specimen, but this is in fact a piece of a meteorite from planet Mars, which was found in Libya, in Africa, in 1993. So this piece of rock has traveled 200 million kilometers through space to fall to our planet. And our early investigations of what it may be like on the surface of Mars has involved looking at these rocks. And because of the isotopes, because of the gas bubbles, we can tell that this indeed is not from Earth and comes from Mars. Since we've got such a great Twitter activity around this event, my next piece of information to share is that my favorite piece of technology is the Curiosity rover, besides the internet, I guess, my second favorite. And you can follow the Curiosity rover on Twitter right now. It's sending images, videos, and information about the radiation levels, the temperature, the pressure, the composition of the sand, the composition of the atmosphere, back to Earth. This is very important information for what I think you know I'm going to say next, which is that the rate at which we can investigate the surface of Mars will be exponentially greater when we are able to send the first humans to the surface of Mars to perhaps find evidence that life not only exists on our planet, but perhaps in the past or perhaps now still exists on the planet next door. And if we find evidence of life on the planet next door, I think there's no doubt that life is a beautiful and common phenomenon in our universe. So, when I say we are living in an unusual and unprecedented era, as we have heard, in the 4.5 billion year history of the planet, that's how old Earth is, 4.5 billion years. We think life has been around for around 4 billion of these years. It's taken that period of time for us to arrive here today. So can you believe my luck to be living in a time where in 2013, I read in the newspaper that there was a call for volunteers to move to Mars, the first off-world settlement in my lifetime. What is the probability of that? And there's very little I wouldn't do to be one of the first humans to establish and extend our world from Earth onto the surface of Mars. There are 100 of us in the final round as volunteer astronauts, and I'm extremely proud to consider myself amongst that group. We are people who believe we are continuing our lives on Earth rather than ending our lives on Earth by moving to another planet. We are scientists, engineers, medics, looking to use our skills in a new and challenging environment. So I think space exploration, of course, has research aims to find out whether life exists on another planet, to understand climate on a global scale on another planet, and many other scientific endeavors. But something really important about space exploration is the power of inspiration. So during the Apollo era, which I was unfortunately not around to see, we saw an unprecedented number of students enrolling in PhDs in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These students went on, and there's evidence and research to show this, to contribute to the development of the personal computer, the mobile telephone, the internet, all technologies not directly related to space exploration, but that emerged as a result of people believing that the impossible is not impossible, but improbable, and doing their best to achieve this goal. So I'm not going to take any more time from the amazing panelists that I'm really privileged to share this stage with today. But I think whether or not some of you would like to come with to Mars, I'm not sure. There may be some amongst you. There will be a round 2 where you can volunteer, so don't worry. I hope to see you there someday. But perhaps going to Mars is not for everyone. But I think one thing that we all share in this room is life. And how we choose to live it is up to us. But irrespective of gender, irrespective of race, irrespective of background, irrespective of culture, we need each and every one of our contributions to create a future of which we can be proud. Thank you very much.